I'm thrilled to have Mandisa here today. She and I have known each other since about 2011 when we met in Des Moines, Iowa at the 2011 American Atheists. And since that time, she has like turned the whole world upside down. She's a force of nature and has created all sorts of things, like mostly the thing I most admire is she's developed the Black Nonbelievers of the whole nation, and she's gotten all sorts of affiliates. You got 3 or 4 affiliates now. 10. Oh God, I'm sorry, forgive me. I owe you a lot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, she's the founder and president of Black Nonbelievers, and she spoke at American Atheists, the Secular Student Alliance, Sexy Secular Conference. She and I cross paths all the time and get to enjoy each other's company. She's been on CNN, there's no CBN, CNN, CBS Sunday Morning, and that sort of stuff. And her group, Black Nonbelievers, is affiliated with the Reason Rally, which is, everybody here is going to the Reason Rally, right? I hope you do. If you haven't thought about it, please think about it. So, but one thing I'd like to say is we owe a real thank you to Maureen Kennedy for making sure that Mandisa got here today, and I appreciate her sponsorship of Mandisa. Mandisa and I recently crossed paths when she invited me to come to Atlanta, Georgia and speak at her 5th annual celebration for the Black Nonbelievers. And it was an amazing event. Really, really interesting. I learned a lot. The speakers were amazing. But the most unique thing, and this will tell you, I'm telling you this story just because I want you to understand who you're about to hear. Mandisa plans this whole conference. In fact, that's her profession. She plans things. She's an excellent planner. And she plans this whole thing, and on Friday night, we all meet, about 40 or 50 of us, are at this Mexican restaurant, eating and enjoying each other's company. And then the next activity for the evening is to go to a stripper club, and about 30 of us show up at the stripper club, and Mandisa's right in the middle buying lap dances and everything else. I had never, ever been to a strip club in my entire life. Well, maybe once, or 5 times. Anyway, that's who we're dealing with here. Mandisa is really cool, really interesting. And if you ever go to a Black Nonbelievers conference, be sure to take your $20 bills with you so you can buy some dancing. All right, Mandisa Thomas.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Daryl, for making me seem like I'm just a party animal. I appreciate that very much. But no, thank you very much once again for having me here. It is a pleasure to be here, and I definitely look forward to hearing you again, Kemet, after this presentation. And I will be giving you my contact information, because one of the things that we like to do at Black Nonbelievers is feature artists. So we will be in touch. As Daryl said, I am the founder and president of Black Nonbelievers, which is by far the largest networking and support organization for people of color in the secular community. We've been going strong now for the past 5 years. And as Daryl said, I am a planner, I am an organizer, and in dealing with the subject of diversity, inclusivity, and how we can be more progressive in this community, I will be speaking on how we don't just want to talk about this, but we want to be more about it. Because that is what is important when it comes to building and growing our community. Now, over the past 5 years, in addition to hosting various events, similar to what KC Oasis does, Black Nonbelievers has also been instrumental in getting our members and people to voice their experiences and share their experiences on film. And I'm not going to cite the CBS Sunday Morning special, even though that has been wonderful. I'm going to take you back to the very first recorded presentation that we did, which was with a film student back in 2011. And it was remarkable because, again, at that time, there still weren't that many folks of color that were speaking and voicing themselves publicly. So I want to just take you back a bit a ways and show this was our beginnings and what we were doing. And we're talking about being Black and atheist in America. That's right.
We're talking about whether there's widespread discrimination against atheists, folks who don't believe in God. Let's check in with our out in the open panel now, Stephen Smith, Debbie Schlussel, and Karen Faith. Took me 10 times to say your name right. That's good. We're doing a little branding work here. Yes. So do you think atheists should keep their religious beliefs secret?
You don't have to, Mrs. Jen. What's their beliefs, period? What is their belief? What does an atheist believe? Nothing, right? I think this is such a ridiculous story. Are we going to take in God we trust off of our dollars? Are we going to not say one nation under God? When does it end? You know, we took prayer out of schools. What more do they want? They don't have a good marketing. They have a horrible PR rep and they don't have good marketing. I mean, look, if they have Hallmark cards, you know, maybe they wouldn't feel so left out. You know, we have Christmas cards, we have Kwanzaa cards now. Maybe they need to get some atheist cards and get that whole ball rolling so more people can get involved with what they're doing. I think they need to shut up and let
just believe. If you don't believe in God, then where's your moral barometer? That's just me talking.
I understand.
Believe what you want to believe, but if you're an atheist, you're basing your goodness and morality on what? I mean, but what is an atheist? I don't really get into that. You know what? I've talked to people all the time. I'm an atheist. I just walk away. I don't know what to say to you. You know?
Well, an atheist is someone who doesn't quite believe that there is somebody out there, some God out there.
Well, then to me, you're an idiot.
Atheism is a taboo topic in general, but it is a controversial topic in the African American community. According to the U.S. Religious Landscape Survey conducted by the Pew Research Center's Forum of Religion and Public Life, 5% of American adults say they do not believe in God or a universal spirit, but only a quarter of these non-believers actually call themselves atheists. A 2009 study by the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life found that African Americans were more religious on a variety of measures than the U.S. population as a whole. The percentage of Black atheists and agnostics nearly doubled from 6% to 11% between 1990 and 2008. I spoke with members of Black Nonbelievers of Atlanta, and we discussed atheism in the Black community.
What are stereotypes of atheists?
They think atheists are mean, just angry, they're oppressed all the time because they don't have this God in their life, and their life must be miserable somehow. And that's not the case. You know, I'm just as happy as anybody. Probably more happy. But, you know, that's the stereotype. You know, you don't have God, you must be miserable. No.
And they also believe that the stereotype is that we're out committing all these types of crimes because we have no hormones. We eat babies. You know, we have one on the pit right now. You know, roasted before us eat dinner after we leave here. So yes, that's another huge misconception.
I think another one is that we have had a bad experience with religion.
Yes.
That caused us to become atheists. I think.
Which is
that is not the case for
Yes.
everyone. It does happen, but I mean, a lot of atheists are atheists because they just came to that point rationally and decided they didn't want to believe what couldn't be proven.
Do you think religion hinders the African American community?
Yes. Go to any neighborhood with a ton of poor, rundown houses and a big shiny church with a pastor with a nice cop and a gold tooth, right now. And got a swag to his talking, and he got all the pretty things on the back. Well, no, truthfully, I believe it is.
As it pertains to the Black community, you have to remember that Christianity was a religion that was forced upon the captives upon arriving into the United States. So the captives were stripped of their culture and given Christianity, forced upon. So after slavery, during slavery, after slavery, and the church just plays such a huge role in the social construct of helping to build the community, because we had to fight a lot of racial injustice, we had to fight a lot of injustice. And so it was at the crux for a long time of many communities, and even educationally.
Where I've seen plenty of people who feel that they're highly blessed and favored, and some of the poorest people on this earth. but they feel like, oh, okay, and it seemed even like to be poor is like a badge of honor. Because you're to being poor, it's like a badge of honor to be poor. And then it's like, and then I try to figure out how do you reconcile in your head when you see like a wealthy pastor, and how do you know, why can't you be wealthy too? Oh, you know, but it's just, and it's God's will and all this other stuff. And it's just like, sometimes you get so frustrated. It's frustrating because you want to help people. You see them and you want to help them, but it's just like the mind. Basically, if you trap somebody's mind, then you have them. You know? So it's the church has people's minds.
See, black people have a special relationship with God. When they read the Bible, they see those Hebrews and they look at them. You know, we're going through that struggle. That's us. You know, the whole Moses Red Sea thing. They see that. That's us. So if we just, God is going to give us the promised land. Just hold on. And meanwhile, you know, during slavery time, it's like, you know, white people had theirs then. We gotta keep waiting until we get out of slavery.
Even in black communities, like when I travel and you see in Africa, you see Europe becoming less religious, and you see Latin America and Africa becoming more Catholic, you know, more religious than and or at the same time. So there's a relationship there.
Is there anything that you believe in?
Yeah, tons of stuff. Tons of stuff.
Lots of things.
Nothing supernatural. Right, that's basically it. Nothing supernatural.
Well, what I like to say about belief is that I try not to believe anything. I try to know as much as possible. If there's anyone that I need to believe in or anything I need to believe in, I try to believe in myself first and foremost. And I put my trust and determination, if you will, in people that I can see, as opposed to anyone that I can't.
And exactly.
Right, proof, right.
Well, people want to know what if we're wrong? What if there is a God? What are you going to do then? But I pose a question, what if there isn't? That means you just wasted your whole life. Live now. Life is short. Be happy. Don't be a slave.
Thank you very much for watching that short clip. And as we expressed, and we continue to express as an organization, religion is especially pervasive within the Black community. There is an extreme emotional tie that the Black community has to the church and to religion. And I frankly say that it is hurting us. It has hurt our state for a very long time. It's hard to make excuses for the church now, especially throughout the years of having to fight so many different battles in the community, especially within this country. And one of the reasons why we push ourselves to be open as atheists and non-believers, and let me just say for the record, yes, I do identify as an atheist, which means I don't believe in any gods, spirits, or supernatural beings, and I don't think it is good to sugarcoat it, because there is nothing inherently wrong with it. And there have been atheists, humanists, agnostics, and freethinkers within the Black community. However, it is still very tough to express this because of the dynamic in the community. And this is something that we need to change. And this is something that we can all help each other do. So getting into religion in the Black community, yes, the Pew Research numbers still do verify this, that most Blacks identify as Christian or religious. Now, quite a few have rejected Christianity, but still subscribe to some sort of other religion, Islam, Black nationalism, which is my background. I grew up learning of almost everything. I breathed Black history and culture, and I still do, because I am a product of the Black community. But some still subscribe to some form of spirituality. So in getting to understand the Black community, if you haven't, that's fine, but now it's time for you to know, or at least have some sort of background. And there is also a wide misconception that there are no Black atheists, even amongst other Blacks. I cannot tell you how many Black folks I have encountered who said, I never knew that it was possible for blacks to be atheists, which is not true. But this is the dynamic that we're turning around. So why the need for black, race, gender-specific groups? We could also ask this question for why is there a need for a KC Oasis group and the model that you have built. First of all, we're not just one secular community. We are made up of different people, and we have different needs and different things that we focus on. One of the things is that many of us are committed to the progression of our respective communities in different areas. And I think that it is good for us to be able to express what these are as atheists, and that no one should have to hide that. We focus on specific issues that larger organizations may not have time to address, although they should if possible. And that is a definition of support, that is a definition of alliances, of being allies. Being able to understand what a specific demographic or community may go through, even if you aren't going through it yourself. And we encourage marginalized demographics to openly identify as atheists or other similar free thought label. It is not necessarily important to me that you identify as atheist. That's okay. If you want to identify as a free thinker, non-believer, agnostic, secular, whatever. But that you know that it is possible for you to do so and of your own volition, and that there are other people out there who look like you and who can identify with what you go through. And I can say that our organization has successfully been able to increase the visibility and also increase the networking of other black non-believers, because there are many of us and many of our members and many people who have encountered us who said, if it wasn't for black non-believers, I would not have known about this. I would not have been able to increase my network or increase the number of friends that I do have. And I'm proud to say that we do it well. So talking, we do a lot of talking in this community. We pride ourselves on our intellectual abilities, which is great. That's a start, especially through the internet. It is awesome. It is an awesome tool. You know, that is where we got our start, especially with the connections. Talking is important, but it is cheap. For the most part, we're able to sign up on different websites, social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Also blogging sites, WordPress, Tumblr. Now we have access to free thought blogs, Patheos, etc. Again, most are free to join and to subscribe to. However, our numbers matter in person. This is an awesome turnout. Can I just say that from an organizer's perspective and someone who puts events together, I have to commend the organizers for doing a wonderful job of bringing this together, and you do it consistently. Our numbers matter, and it really matters when we are able to see each other in person, face to face, because it makes a huge impact, not just as a cause and collectively, but also personally. How many of you feel better knowing that there are others out there it's like you? Yeah, it makes a huge difference. And it also normalizes us. It shows that we are just as normal as anyone else. And that we probably have more, and that we do have more in common than we don't. I, in addition to being the head of Black Nonbelievers, I still work full time. I have a family, I have daughters in college. So this is just in addition to what my everyday existence is. So I can relate to what a lot of people go through. And I'm sure, and vice versa. But it is important, though, that we aren't just talking and having the discussions, but that we are actually participating. And this goes not just for the organizers, it also goes for the members and attendees who, if you want to make a difference, this is what we can all do to help each other. So how can you be more about it? Here's some don'ts. Don't assume you cannot help. Do not assume that because you aren't a person of color that you are not affected by what we go through and what we do. and that you cannot help us with anything, and that you cannot gain any insight into what it is that we do. Don't assume that at all. Don't be dismissive of our concerns. That is the fastest way to turn anyone off. Just because you don't go through it, or just because it may not be something that you understand, it doesn't mean that it is not of importance. And if we don't think that you are concerned, or that it just seems like it is just, it is just lip service, then yeah, we're not going to be as interested in what you have to say, or we're not going to think you really want to help us. But also, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just dealing with what we go through as atheists every day is a lot. Just as atheists, period. And it takes a lot to overcome stigma. It takes a lot to overcome indoctrination. It takes a lot for us to change. Change can be hard. It can be difficult. So we're all doing, or we like to think we're all doing the best we can as far as gaining new perspectives, learning about what we all go through, and learning past our own experiences. So if you're not aware, or if you're not fully committed to getting involved in everything at one time, that's okay. Because again, we all have our everyday lives, and I can speak for myself as well when I say that I cannot focus on every single thing. I can't be everything to everybody, and I'm not trying to be. Because that way, that is a setup for failure. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. But then take it slow if you have to. Please don't start any sentence with "I'm not black." That doesn't help us at all, and even if you don't realize it, or even if it is intimidating, just try to keep that in the front of your mind. Sentence with "I'm not black." That is off-putting. Don't be overbearing. I know that as a predominantly white community, and we really are, let's just not sugarcoat that. This is still a very predominantly white represented community. And for those of us who are not necessarily trying to make our mark, but who are trying to contribute to not only the black communities or our respective communities, but also the secular community, sometimes it may be easier to push what your understanding is on us. That's not a good thing to do. Because many of us have a very good understanding of what it is that we need to do, but that we realize that we all need to work together on it, and we need to know that you're listening to us. We need to know that you're not just trying to talk at us. We need to know that you're listening, and that you are trying to talk to us, and that we're all trying to talk and work this thing out together. So please don't be overbearing on us. Don't walk past or ignore tables for people of color. Again, that goes back to assuming that you cannot help. There is information that we can provide that you can definitely benefit from, and vice versa. We bring that information and that perspective, that we have a lot to offer from the black community, and specifically from the black atheist or secular community. And so it is good for all of us to know, especially if you're committed and you committed yourself to the diversity angle or the diversity aspect. Don't walk past us or ignore us. Most of the time, if you see me, I'm smiling. If you see me tabling anywhere, I'm always smiling. If you see this, don't run away. Now for some news. Do participate offline with your respective groups and organizations. And this isn't just for the groups of color. This is for your KC Oasis. This is for any of your groups here in the area, locally or nationally. Do participate. It is important. Volunteer. Do what you can. Collaborate with groups for people of color and encourage them to do the same. Okay? Alliances go both ways, and I'm speaking to everyone in this room, including my fellow black atheists and secularists. There is something that we can learn from each other, And do not just assume that because we have our perspectives that we cannot help each other. Is that always going to be possible? No. But don't be discouraged by it. It's an ideal. We would love for all of us to be able to work together. Hey, I'm pretty sure not everyone in this room likes each other, but that's all right. But in trying to focus on the overall goal, you definitely make sure you reach out to and collaborate with your respective groups, especially those that are focusing on specific areas. Encourage that cross-collaboration. Be consistent, persistent, and genuine. This cannot be a one-time conversation. These cannot be one-time actions. We must remain committed, as difficult as it can be. And I'm the first to tell you that it can be extremely difficult to remain involved, especially as we're dealing with people. We're all funny beings. But we must continue to follow up with each other and continue to work together, because these aren't miracles, these aren't magical solutions. These are just things we do every day. Be well-read, but also well-rounded. As I said before, we are a community that prides ourselves on our intellectual capabilities. And that is awesome. We encourage that for our families, we encourage that for ourselves. But to be well-rounded means that you are reaching people beyond what is considered the educational scope. You don't want to talk up here to everyone, because then you're talking at people. You can reach people through other means, the creative side, through many other means and many other aspects. Many of us are music enthusiasts. I am a hip-hop enthusiast, and I like to reach people through that medium as well. So, beyond the books, beyond the educational aspect, and education goes beyond just reading. It also goes into how we are able to understand each other and how we are being informative. So be more well-rounded, not just as a community, but also as individuals. We are still dealing with many internal issues and many emotional struggles when it comes to leaving religion behind and also in developing ourselves. So it is important for us to continue to grow and continue to learn more about the community and about ourselves, because there's a lot that we can learn by letting go of religion. You know, there's so much power that we have within ourselves that we can tap into. Be understanding. Again, that goes towards being empathetic, knowing that even if we don't necessarily agree on everything, you can understand what the other side is going through. Have information and references available. Why not talk about Black nonbelievers in your organization? There's within your groups. There is information about famous African-American humanists and freethinkers and current African-American humanists and freethinkers. You can certainly find the information is out there. Another good website is African Americans for Humanism. In this age of information, there is no reason why we are completely ignorant as to the diversity that is already within our community. And it's important to know it. Have those resources available for people who may need them, and for yourself. Very important, donate. Our organizations need money. We need resources. Our organization is a 501c3 organization. We are on a national level. The KC Oasis group, I'm sure, needs money in order to thrive and function. This is not inherent to the religious community. In order for things to grow, and this doesn't just have to be financial. Donate your time. Donate your skills to what the organization may need. Last but certainly not least, have some fun. What good is us doing any of this if we cannot let our hair down and have fun with it? Many of you have come from a community where you have felt restricted, where you have felt that you could not live your life and on your terms. It is important for us to understand that balancing this out means that we can have fun with this. Because what do you say? If you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life. Having fun with this will be extremely important, and that's what we try to do. Because we're dealing with so many things in our everyday lives. I personally don't like to stay angry all the time. I know what that's like. I had to grow up with that, and I've had to overcome that. So part of my existence means that I'm gonna have some fun with this. Because we have something to celebrate. In the 5 years that we have been existing, we have been able to really, really sustain some really good connections and foster some really good friendships. And that is something that is a positive, that is a plus. And so we should really be happy with the growth that we have, that we have seen so far, even though we still have a ways to go. But guess what? Have some fun with it. It comes across so much better. And so, in our questions today, that's the end of my presentation. I just posted some pictures here of some of our various activities, what we do, some of our meetings, some of the people that we've hosted as an organization. We are not afraid. I am not afraid there is no place that is too far for me to go. There is no audience that I think I am too good to speak to. So, and this is my model as an organization, and for us to work together. And like Darryl said, we are one of the sponsors for the Reason Rally. We are affiliated with many of the secular groups within the community. And we've been able to focus on our target community, which is primarily folks of color in the Black community, because it's needed. So again, we aren't just talking about it, we are being about it. Thank you.
We do have a little time for questions. If you have a question, wait for the mic to come to you, please raise your hand. Anyone have a question for Mandisa?
So besides Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's the most famous Black non-believer? Besides you, I guess it'd be Neil and you, and then who's third?
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who technically doesn't identify as atheist. He's made that very clear. Yeah. So far, who follows football at all? Most recently, Ariane Foster, who's with the Houston Texans, did an openly secular video last year. So where he came out as being openly secular, and he said he doesn't believe in God. And what's important about that is that he is the first active football player to come out and say so. Not retired, but who's actually playing. Yeah. And I think Morgan Freeman is an atheist as well. More than likely you have some closeted atheists, especially Black atheists, but they just haven't come out and said it yet. But I would say, I think Morgan Freeman is one, but also look up Ariane Foster. And ESPN featured him on their website, I think for about a good week. And they featured his story. So that was pretty monumental.
Morgan Freeman, the guy who played God?
Right. And apparently there's a series on National Geographic that he's going to be hosting called The Story of God, which I think will be very interesting. Yes.
In your opinion, what needs to happen before secular fellowship can replace religious fellowship in the Black community?
What needs to happen is that people need to know it's okay. That it is okay to identify as atheist. It is okay to question. It is okay to doubt is okay. Questioning is okay. And that there is a support system out there that you don't have to feel like you're being beat up by, because there are many Black folks in the community who feel like they're beat up by their family members and friends when they are doubting. So that, and also the Black community does need to recognize that we exist. And it's not so much as a matter of waiting for them to recognize it. We actually are going to have to break down those doors and do it, which is what we've been doing.
I'm not Black, but... There was a group that started here in Kansas City. It was off of another group, KC Free Thought and so on. And this one gal took off, she had a Black group, and for some reason she chose not to have any other people intervene in order to work with it. It's like real exclusive, and I think it died. And it was a real disappointment because it had such promise at first. And I don't know what's happened, but I think there's tremendous room here, but the religious community is very strong here. And what do you suggest as far as starting something here in Kansas City?
There's already something started here in this community. I suggest that the organizer make herself available to everyone and make herself, if she hasn't already, make herself available to working with the groups here.
So, thank you for bringing that up. My name is Diane, I'm the co-moderator of the Kansas City Freethinkers of Color. And it started back 4 years ago was the Black Atheists, what I'm here speaking of, the Black Atheists in Kansas City. 2 years ago, we expanded and become more inclusive to folks of color in general. So we are a meetup group and we are a Facebook group. Anyone here that self-identifies as a person of color is welcome to join us. We have social stuff. We share a lot of the Oasis stuff that's going on here in the community. So I just wanted to let people know that there are local resources. So thank you for Mandisa for pointing that out, and thank you for bringing that up as well. Thanks.
What do you say to the person who, on your slideshow, said, when you tell me you're an atheist, I don't know what to say to you? What do you say with that kind of response?
I say that you need to do some more research. I say that you need to broaden your understanding, or, what should I say? Why should I have to explain myself to you? We've gotten into this culture of being apologetic about our atheism, and that it is okay for people to be ignorant of it, and I don't give that a pass. So to me, people like Steve Harvey is an idiot. People like the woman who says we need to shut up is an idiot. But understand that this is the predominant attitude that we're dealing with within the Black community. So when the question comes up about why there are groups like ours, we have to combat this. So trying to build a better understanding of why we exist is important.
All right, I've got one more question if anyone has one. Mike. I don't know, at the same time. If I wanted to come with you to help you give time, donate, whatever, where do I go?
That's a very good question. Our website is blacknonbelievers.org. I have my cards if you'd like to reach out to me personally. And it has my email address, it has my phone number. I make myself available to everyone. I love that my kids follow my model. I make myself no one stranger. And I think that is an important piece to how we normalize atheism. Because sometimes when you tell people that you're an atheist, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. But I didn't expect you to be so nice. But that is an important piece. But yes, you can contact me at our website. I have my cards. Come see me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, big round of applause for Mandisa. We are so lucky to have her here. Also, after that introduction that Daryl gave you, you're going to have to hang out. I think we got some things in common. Yeah, so, like Mandisa was saying, the kind of a personal story for me, I also identify as an atheist. Oasis is not an atheist-only organization. Like she was saying, we don't care how you identify. You can be a theist, you can be, a free thinker, skeptic, whatever it is that you're comfortable calling yourself. But I came out as an atheist at a very young age, and I think that it wasn't until I was older that I realized that there was a certain amount of white, male, cisgendered privilege that allowed me to have that experience where I could feel comfortable just doing that at my age. And that people who come from other communities, have other backgrounds, they don't have that same freedom. They don't have that, ability to just be out and be who they are with their secularism or their belief system, whatever it is. And the intersectionality of Oasis, bringing together all kinds of different causes, whether it's, causes for secular people of color,
causes for LGBT youth, causes for, you name it. Everyone can meet here and gather, and they can share their experience, and it all relates back to our secularism, but at the same time, we're forwarding humanity with the knowledge that we're all kind of in this together. It doesn't have to be about beliefs. It's more about what's best for everyone. And I really appreciate that. So, that's my 2 cents on the whole thing, and I'm gonna go right into one of her dues was donate, and like she said, these things don't happen just by accident. They take intention, they take resources, they take people putting their boots on and going out there and trying to make changes in the world. And so we call on you guys to, if you feel privileged enough to be able to donate to us, we are also a 501c3. If you don't have cash, you can donate over here with Melissa. We also have great merchandise over here. I'm sure you see all of the People Are More Important Than Belief shirts. We have buttons, we have stickers. All of that money goes to fund Oasis too. So that's a great way to, not to get a little something back for the money that you're putting in towards Oasis. Also, Mandisa has some great stuff over here for the Black Nonbelievers. So if you want to help donate to her, get a mug, get a beer koozie, and that way you can feel like you're contributing the next time you're having a cold brew. So, Kevin, you want to come up?